Good morning, MegaPodlings. Crazy Joe here. It is Thursday night as I'm recording this. And today we got some pretty interesting Star Trek news. Today it came out that CBS All Access has given the green light to not one, but two seasons already ordered, of a new half-hour animated Star Trek comedy series. The show is going to be called Star Trek Lower Decks, and it is about the lowest ranking crew members on the least important starship in the fleet. That's what we've heard. Now, it's created by the head writer for Rick and Morty, and that's all we know. We don't know if it's going to be considered canon, or if this is just an outlier, like, hey, here's some Star Trek comedy bits, like animated Saturday Night Live skits, if you will. Like, it's out there, it's funny. If you're a Star Trek fan, you'll enjoy it, but it's not canon. Or if they're actually going to try to tie this into canon, we really don't know. We don't know what era it takes place in. Is it taking place concurrent with Discovery? Is it in the time of the original Star Trek The Next Generation? So far, no details, except it's happening, half-hour long comedy, and from the head writer of Rick and Morty. As one would expect, anytime a Star Trek project is announced, people are already complaining about it, because that just seems to be the way these days. A Star Trek project is announced, and people complain, which is just really odd. It boggles my mind. It really does, because there was a segment of the fan base that hated the Kelvin timeline. They did not like the Kelvin timeline and the J.J. Abrams movies. Just dead set against them. There's nothing wrong with that. You like what you like. You don't like what you don't like. But throughout that period of time, we kept hearing the fans say, "Oh, Star Trek needs to come back to television. That's where it works the best. It's got to come back to television, and it's got to come back to the prime timeline, not the Kelvin timeline. We want the original prime timeline." So CBS comes along and says, "Hey, guess what? We're giving you a new Star Trek TV series, and it's going to take place in the prime timeline." So basically, CBS said, "Hey, fans, here's everything you asked for. Everything you said you wanted, here it is." And there's still fans complaining about Discovery. So apparently, no matter what CBS does, people aren't happy. Now, I'm hearing people complain that they don't want an animated Star Trek. I'm hearing people complain that they don't want a comedic Star Trek. You are going to knock that tripod over, aren't you? He's right in front of the tripod. It's amazing. He used to let me shoot these videos, but he just now, these days, he's like, no, you're shooting, I'm involved. I don't know what it is, but come on, Jules. I can't have you standing there. Say hello, Jules. I'm going to put you... Jules, I'm putting you over here. Okay, you're good. But I just can't have you knocking the tripod over. Sorry about that. And now I've lost my train of thought. You see, I don't write this stuff down. Some people script out what they're going to say. I don't write this stuff down. So all it takes is one cat to completely throw me off course. But people complaining about Star Trek Lower Decks, the animated series. I don't get it. I really don't get it, because we've got Discovery. And that is, a live-action, serious sci-fi show. It's not comedic. It's just, it's your straight... I mean, there's comedic parts. There's always comedic parts, because, that's part of who we are as it's humans. I mean, going back to Spock and McCoy bickering. It's always been humor in Star Trek. But Disco isn't a comedy. So you've got a serious sci-fi Star Trek show on the air right now. We also know the Picard show is coming. Star Trek, for lack of a better... There's rumors it's going to be called Star Trek Destiny. But since we don't actually know, I mean, I guess we just call it the Picard show now. So you're going to have Discovery. You're going to have the Picard show. They've also announced that there is Nicholas Meyer's working on a miniseries about Khan. That's somewhere in the pipeline. There's been talk about a Starfleet Academy TV series. That is also coming down the pipeline. So there's a lot of Star Trek happening right now. There's a lot of Star, and the Kelvin movies are still continuing too, because they've got directors for Star Trek 14 and 15. Star Trek 14 is being directed by a woman, something Clarkson. I'm not familiar with her. First woman to ever direct a Star Trek movie. She's supposed to direct Star Trek 14, which has hit a snag because there's a contract dispute between Chris Pine and Chris Hemsworth. They've temporarily walked away from the table, but Paramount's still trying to make that happen. And Quentin Tarantino, of all people, is working on Star Trek 15. So you've still got the Kelvin Universe movies in addition to all these multiple TV series that are coming down the pike. So it seems to me that if there's something you don't like, who cares? It's like a buffet. There's plenty of Star Trek on the buffet. Pick the pieces you like. Oh, I don't care for the animated series. I'll take some Picard. I'll take a little bit of Discovery. The Starfleet Academy series, that's not my cup of tea. Oh, yes, I will have some Khan miniseries. Watch what you like. Don't watch what you don't like. There's plenty of Star Trek out there. You don't have to watch all the Star Trek. You don't have to. Like, for example, I'm a hardcore Star Trek fan. I love Star Trek, always have loved Star Trek. But I didn't watch all of Voyager. I gave Voyager 5 seasons, so 4.5 really. I gave Voyager 4.5 seasons. So no one can say I didn't give it a fair shot. But from day one, I just didn't like it. I'm like, these characters seem a little bland. The Doctor's cool, but a lot of these guys are kind of just bland characters. Then they threw 7 of 9 in there. She spiced things up a little bit, and then it just became 7 and the Doctor. Which I can understand because they were the only 2 interesting characters on the show. If you're a writer, you're going to want to write for the interesting characters, and that was 7 and the Doctor. The other guys were bland, as I said. So eventually I just walked away from Voyager, which is fine because I watched all the others. And then years later, when there was no new Star Trek, Voyager was the only Star Trek series that had episodes I had never seen because it's the only one I ever walked away from. I've seen every original, I've seen every animated, I've seen every Next Generation, I've seen every DS9. So in those years between the cancellation of Enterprise and Star Trek 11, the first Kelvinverse movie, I had no Star Trek, no new Star Trek that I hadn't seen. So I started revisiting Voyager and I found it wasn't as bad as I initially thought it was. I still don't love it. It's still way at the bottom, least favorite Star Trek series. But my point is, I just stopped watching Voyager. I was like, I don't need to watch this. And if you see something you don't like, you don't need to watch it. You can just walk away. And there's still plenty of Star Trek that you can watch because the Picard show, Discovery, the Academy show is coming. So I say I'm all for Lower Decks, the animated series. One of 2 things is going to happen. It's going to be really funny, and it's going to make me laugh. Or it's not going to be that funny, and I'm just not going to watch it. But I'll still have Picard, and I'll still have Disco, and I'll still have the Kelvin movies. So my Star Trek fix will be there. And I just think that's the attitude people should take. I don't understand why people are getting angry because there's a comedic Star Trek. Come on, this is a good thing. This is a good thing. It doesn't mean the show's going to be great. I don't know if the show's going to be good or not. I do like Rick and Morty, though, so that's a good sign. I think Rick and Morty's funny. So if the head writer of Rick and Morty is creating this, I'm intrigued. You've got my attention. Bring it on. I'm either going to like it or I'm not going to like it. And if I don't like it, it's not the end of the world. There's plenty of Star Trek out there. While we are on the subject of Star Trek, there is something I want to bring up. I've been wanting to bring it up for a while. I think I've brought it up on this channel. I know I brought it up on the podcast. But did I bring it up on the videos? I don't know. Look, I'm very reluctant, extremely reluctant to say nasty things about another YouTube channel. I don't like to do that. It's not my style. My feeling is there's enough room on YouTube for everyone. So I don't like starting little YouTube wars and saying, oh, this guy stinks, that guy... That's not who I am. But there's a YouTube channel that started a rumor. And it's not true. It's provably not true. You can do the research, and there's official channels out there like IMDb Pro, and you can check Wikipedia, you can check Bad Robot's website. There's official channels you can go to verify this information, and you will find that this information is false. But a YouTube channel, a very popular YouTube channel, put out some misinformation, and people who aren't that invested, which is fine. There's casual fans who just, they're not that invested. They like the show, take it or leave it, and they're not going to go out there and like do some research and say, is that true what that guy said? Let me check it out. That's fine. You know, not everyone's a hardcore fan. Casual fans are fine. But a lot of people have taken this YouTube channel on their word. And I've noticed when I go on Facebook now and when I go into other areas of the internet, I keep seeing this bit of misinformation parroted back as if it were a fact. And that irks me. What irks me the most is I know the people behind this YouTube channel have been corrected. Yet, they have never put out a correction. In fact, in their videos, they continue to say the same bit of misinformation. Now, does this misinformation that they're spreading, does it come from ignorance because they don't know any better? Or are they lying? I couldn't tell you. I really don't know. I'm very reluctant to say the name of the channel because I feel like if I say the name of the channel, I'm just going to drive people to them. And it really bothers me that they're putting out this bit of misinformation that is then being believed by people who don't know any better. So the story goes like this. Star Trek, CBS and Paramount split up. Paramount got the film rights to Star Trek. CBS got the television rights. Now this part I don't know if it's true. Okay, this part I have no idea if it's true or not. But supposedly, Paramount has a separate copyright, a separate license. There's the CBS license and the Paramount license. This is the rumor. I've never heard that verified. I've never heard that part debunked. So there may indeed be two licenses. That part, I don't know. But what I do know, and what these guys are saying is not, well, they're claiming that the reason the Klingons look different on Discovery, the reason the uniforms are different on Discovery, the reason the technology is different on Discovery, they're making the claim that the show was made under Paramount's Bad Robot's Star Trek license for the Kelvin Universe movies. And because it was made under an alternate license, there is a stipulation in the contracts that says it has to look a certain percentage different from CBS's license. This is what they claim. This is what they're digging their heels in and continuing to claim in video after video after video after video. It is blatantly false. Now, whether there's a separate license for Paramount and Bad Robot and the TV side, that I can't tell you. I've never heard that verified. But what I do know for a fact is that Discovery is not made under a license that Bad Robot holds. Bad Robot has nothing to do with Star Trek Discovery. They are not making it. Star Trek Discovery is made by CBS. You don't have to take my word for this. This is provable. Go to IMDb Pro. Go to Bad Robot's page on IMDb Pro. Go to CBS Studios page. Look up Star Trek Discovery. Look up J.J. Abrams. Look up all these people, and you will see there is no crossover between Bad Robot and J.J. Abrams and Star Trek Discovery. None. None, none, none. The only thing that is even remotely similar is that Alex Kurtzman worked on both projects. But just because Alex Kurtzman is working for these guys and used to work for these guys doesn't mean he's still working for these guys. Bad Robot has no connection to Star Trek Discovery. Star Trek Discovery is not being made under some alternative license, as these people keep reporting. Do not believe it. If you hear people say that, tell them it is not true. It drives me crazy that people are putting out this misinformation, and it is just being believed and accepted by people who don't know any better. I have rambled on for far too long, and I am done now. Keep wearing those pajamas.
Keep wearing those pajamas with the plastic feet. Keep wearing those pajamas. Tell everyone you meet. Keep wearing those pajamas with the back door flap. Keep wearing those pajamas. Don't open, it's a trap. Oh no, it's a trap. Some people call them bitches, some people call them jammies. They can come embroidered with big money and no whammies. They can have 100 tiny commander adamas, but no matter how they look, just keep on wearing those pajamas. Keep on wearing those pajamas. Keep wearing those pajamas. I know we're having fun. Keep wearing those pajamas. And now the song is done.